but also realizing the symbolism I would try to use. If you look in the dictionary, there are over 90 negative connotations for the word black. Black ball, blacklisted, the cowboy who is supposed to be the evil one who wears a black hat, maybe a whole black outfit. It's just the opposite in terms of white. I knew that if I was going to work on the book dealing with the Middle Passage and slavery, that I'd be trying to work against the program we already had, which is anything that's all black is negative. And as an artist, I wanted to see if I could turn that around, or at least put it in another place, and make you look at it in a different way. Tony Monson talked about the fact of going to the supermarket, and where you always know the bread is, and the bread is moved. And because it's moved, you have to think about bread for the first time. Who makes it? Why did they make it? Why is it moved? You know, all those things. It's another perspective. So what I did was to do this piece here called, it's a man in the front who's obviously in pain and screaming loudly. On the other side, next, is a woman who seems to be holding her pain in. But the name of this sculpture is the burden of oppression is equal. Next. I wanted to do something all in black, even though I knew your program would see anything that's all black is negative, and see if I could make it still regal and open. So I did this pregnant woman. Then I wanted to take something and do it all in white, the black man. And even though it's supposed to be open and pure, see if I can make it feel enclosed. And if you look at the man's wrist, there's a white chain connected to his wrist, and it drops down. And you see a black key. If this man can get that black key up into his forehead, into his head where there's a keyhole, and turn it, he'll realize that that white box is not that strong, and he can break out of it. Now, all these are symbolisms that I was going to have to use in the middle passage. It's almost 12:30, so I'll try and go through these very quickly. I tried to do the drawings for this book in South America. I did all the reading and putting all the reading of the books and then writing it out longhand and then breaking it down in sequential order in incidents that happened. But I realized I couldn't do it in South America. Every morning I'd come down and try to do the drawing, and a warm breeze would come through the window, and I said, I'll do it tomorrow. So I realized I had to be at a place that reminded me every day of the pain of what I was going through. So I came back to New York City. And I started doing these drawings, these line drawings. I finished maybe, it was 2.5 years, I finished 80. 50 of them, or 56 of them were used in the middle passage. When I finished the line drawings, what I did is put it in a book form, a dummy form, so that people could look at them and have to turn the pages and move from page to page, looking at the images. I then asked this friend of mine, a mentor, to come over and look at these line drawings, Elton Fast. He came over and he kept saying how beautiful the line drawings were. I finished the book, and I said, no, I'm not finished, Elton. He said, well, I can see, the first drawing to the last drawing. I said, no, I've got to get these things to come up off the page, go below the surface of the page, and move with rhythm across the page. And I can only do that with tone. He said, you don't want to cover up these beautiful line drawings with tone, He said, it's beautiful art. I said, Elton, I don't want people aware of the fact that they're looking at art. So what I'll do is I'll show you maybe when I finish painting about 10 of them. I'll show you what I've done. I took the same line drawings over to my mother. She went through them fairly quickly and got to the end. And she said, you finished the book? I said, no, Mom, I'm not. She said, what are you looking at? I said, well, I'll show you when I finish painting about 10. I don't know how long it took me to make 10, since it took me 20 years to do the whole book. finished painting about 10 of them. I made another dummy copy. This is the one painting. And I asked Elton to come over and take a look at it. Elton Facts. He came over and looked at it, didn't say anything, went home, and then called me later and said, Tom, you know, sometimes the worst critic could be another artist, because you did what you said you were going to do. You put the pain, you put the movement. I then took these same pictures over to my mother. She this time turned the pages very slowly, pounding the chest and turning the pages. When she saw the artwork in the line form, the line art, that was her son, the artist who had done it. When she saw them in this form, she forgot that I had done it. She got caught up in the story. And that's the reaction that I wanted. I wanted people to get caught up in the story emotionally and forget that they were looking at art or even looking at a book, that they were living the experience. I knew the first picture in the book would be clearly Life of Freedom. That was Africa before the slave trade. I knew the last picture in the book would be Life of Freedom, and that's arrival someplace. My problem was the middle of the passage. That's where all the pain was, and getting through that. So these are some of the images from the book. You can look at the book and you can do it in your own pacing. I stopped at this one because this is the epitome of what I was trying to do. This is on the cover of the book, it's also inside the book. What you see here is water, but I was trying to paint water as negative energy. And it's white, so it's the first thing you see. It moves forward. It's the first thing that your eyes pick up. You look in the background there, and there is the slave ship waiting. Then you look down here to this pyramid shape, and at the apex of it is a sailor, white sailor with a gun. And then I purposely painted the rest of this area very dark so that you had to look into it. When you looked into it, you began to see that these were human beings, Africans, and they're chained. And from the perspective of looking into it, the chain is connected to you. You're in the boat with it. So this clearly is the story told from the African perspective. People ask me, well, there were no photographs at that time, so where did you get reference material? I took photographs from the newspapers from the 60s. This is Bull Connors in Birmingham, and his racist policing. And so when Africans are coming on the ship for the first time, and they see the crew, they see Bull Connors and his crew. I used pain from the recent past that connected to the past a long time ago. It's late now, so I think we'll have those recent very quickly. That last picture, you can go back to the, yes. This diagram is in every book on slavery. I had seen it. Every book dealing with slavery. And what happens is, after a while, what happens is you begin to see it as a diagram. And that these are not real human beings. It's a diagram. So what I did was include this human being behind it. I wanted to use the force of symbols, of diagrams, of abstracts for dynamism. But I also included, in almost every case that I could, a representative, realistic drawing or painting, so that you have to identify with the people who are going through this situation.